So this week I want to do something a little bit different. I'm actually going to be talking about The Walking Dead, the last episode, and I will get back to the cutting videos next week. I just felt like it was too big of an episode, and I'm too much of a comic book nerd not to touch on this and what I think happened. So these are my thoughts, not yours. I want to talk about last night's The Walking Dead episode. Now, there are going to be spoilers following, so please tune off if you have not seen it. Okay, I'm going to give you like 10 seconds to look away or go watch the episode and then come back. It was a big episode, but I'm going to touch on one thing specifically. I'm not going to go over the whole episode. That would take way too long. Alright, having said that, the biggest thing that happened, or what appeared to happen, was the death of Glenn. Now, if you're an avid comic book reader and you do keep up on the series, you know he goes in a much different way. There's many reasons that I believe he's not dead, mainly the way that it was edited. If you watch closely, there's a couple of escape routes that he has, okay? And at the point where he pulls out his watch, and it has that famous line where he talks to Rick, and Rick calls him a dumbass, and it's a recall back to the very first episode. And if you remember the first episode as well, they're surrounded in the tank with walkers everywhere, kind of like towards the ending shot of where he's supposedly dying. Anyways, going back to where he has the watch. Okay, he pulls out the watch, you also notice he has a flare gun. We never see it again after that. Okay? Having said that, you come back all the way to the point where they're both on a dumpster, Nicholas kills himself, they both fall, and Nicholas lands on top of him. Okay? There's also an escape route if you look while they're both standing on top of the dumpster. What was Glenn known for most at the beginning of The Walking Dead? Running on rooftops, right? Okay, now if this episode was a callback to the first one, how did they escape? They covered themselves in walker guts, and then they escaped, right? And they got back up to the rooftops, and they got away. At least that's how I remember it. I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. I will show you an image right here of showing you an escape route where there are actually stairs to a rooftop, okay? Having said that, when they both fall, it's not within disbelief, or it's not within the realm of unbelievable that he could have shot off, or can still shoot off a flare, the flare gun that he still has, attracting the walkers to that, or shooting it at him, setting him on fire, or something with it. I don't know. It's going to play a factor somehow. And having said that, then he could easily crawl or get up and walk because he is covered in Nicholas's guts. At least that's what I see happening, and I'll explain why in a second. And gets up those stairs and escapes through the roof just like he did back in the day. Okay, now going back to where he's getting covered in Nicholas's guts. If you watch as whoever's getting torn open by the walkers, and I'll have an image of that for you as well. It's way too high up to be Glenn's guts. Your intestines are lower. Your intestinal tract is down by your stomach. Okay, it looks as if it was Glenn, they're tearing open his chest. Your guts aren't that high up. That would make no sense. To me, what it looks like is Nicholas fell on him a crossway. So Nicholas's stomach would be on his chest, and that's what's getting ripped open, and those are the guts coming out. Also, if you look closely, Glenn never spits up blood. Isn't that strange? That's kind of weird. You know, if you go back into earlier seasons, like when Dale died, and that walker tore open his stomach, he starts spitting up blood, right? So why isn't Glenn? Because he's not dead. He's not dying. There's no way he's dead. At least not in that scene, okay? Now, a lot of people are going to argue there's way too many walkers for him to survive. I agree, there are quite a bit. There's a lot. the only way he can escape is through that route that I'll circle and show again. Other than that, there's no way. There's no way. And that flare gun has to come into a place somehow. I've seen some people speculating that Abraham's going to come to the rescue. Maybe they drive through the walkers, but how would they know Glenn's there? That flare still has to play a role in that then. He would have to shoot it off. Abraham would... It's just, that's too coincidental. There's no way he's going to have to save himself if he does survive. Yeah. And then also, if you watch how they edit the video, you never see an up close or where you get the whole view of what's actually happening. If you go back and watch all the deaths in The Walking Dead, every single death, you see what happens. Now, this might just be a change in style of what they're doing and how they want to film deaths now, but it was too coincidental for me. There's always a reason for editing. There's a reason that you take a certain shot. There's no way that this shot was Glenn's death. I don't see it happening. I don't know. He may die in that particular situation, but we haven't seen his death yet. I don't think that was his death. Others will argue that it was because David, the guy that dies in that episode as well, to kind of hide what was about to happen to Glenn, or seemed to happen to Glenn. He never wrote the note to his wife and he died. He's met his wife in the apocalypse. It's very comparable to Glenn. And what was the point of that character other than that? We've never met him before. It was essentially to show what could happen to Glenn. I think what's going to happen is Glenn will survive, but this is going to be the turning point for him where he realizes that he's going to have to kill to survive. So if you really look back at all the seasons, he's never killed anyone unless they were already dead. So that's my thoughts. That's what I think is going to happen. We're not going to find out till next week, unfortunately. Or not even next week, excuse me, because that's a Morgan episode. Yeah, we probably won't find out for 2 weeks. But I did hear on The Talking Dead that Glenn will appear again. So he will be back. We just don't know in what way. So those are my thoughts. All the people freaking out, Glenn's dead, blah, 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 blah. Hang on, we haven't seen everything yet. Stop losing your mind. Trust me, everything will be okay. All right, peace out.